take garbage and make it shine. This whole project is asinine. Waste some time with me, I can guarantee this old junk will soon toe the line.
We're polishing turds, mediocrity curd. I can't find the words, this song is absurd. We're polishing turds, we're polishing turds.
All right, real good stuff doers. Welcome back to another unbelievably exciting episode. Real good at doing stuff. Today we're gonna dyno. We're gonna make the first few set of pulls on the old 2-runner here. This may be a little bit underwhelming because we're not going to try to make much power at all today, but we're just trying to make sure everything works and we don't have any problems. The two things that are holding us back, well, really one thing, the rear control arms, the upper ones are unbelievably sketchy, right? So we're not trying to rip stuff apart today, but we are gonna just start creeping up on it a little bit. The 2-runner runs 87 octane, so we're not gonna get crazy with any boost numbers today. We're just gonna make a little bit and get things going and then drive it some. Now the gates, because of what we're gonna try to do long term with this thing, hard tired, super duper power management stuff, we have the smallest springs that we can find in there, so it's not going to make much boost at all on the gates. But we'll start to creep that up with some air pressure and make a little bit of boost. But anyhow, let's make the little baby pull here with no pressure and just see what we get.
So hey Pete, just curious, you excited?
I can't wait.
Man, you got to do it a little bit better than that.
I can't do it anymore.
Okay, fine, damn. That's a big jump.
All right, so first pull, basically 272 horsepower where I let out about 5,000 or so. And that's with basically at most 1.7 pounds of boost, right? So that's probably about makes sense because these motors had about 350 horsepower stock at the crankshaft, and that's with loss through the drivetrain, that's 272. So that totally jives. That makes sense. So now I'm gonna probably try to tune that spot up a little bit. I don't think I got any timing in this dude. Yeah, I got like 23 pounds, so I might add just a little bit of timing. The fuel is very close. We're only pulling just like 2 or 3% right there, so that's excellent. Oil pressure's through the roof. Yeah, 88 pounds. We got good oil pressure. Everything looks good. So what I turn it? I turned it, yeah, 48, 4900. So we'll do that again. Maybe turn it just a tick more. There's not really any point in turning it much more without any boost because it's not going to do anything. Stock camshaft, so it's kind of out of wind up there, especially going through a turbo system with no boost. That's not the best way to make power. So let's play with that a little bit, and then we'll try to get some boost in here. Also, we got to point out here, our old power number was 91.7, and we're already over 3 times that with no boost. So, big difference. All right, so there's 282, basically picked up 10 horsepower, a couple degrees. Lee claims I just voided my warranty, and he also says I'm no longer necessary here because he knows how to tune. So I've been liquidated. Anyhow, let's look at the data and start adding some boost.
Let's do it. It still runs.
All right, so we got, what do we get? 338 horsepower with 5 pounds of dome, and it made, kind of leveled out about 4.6 pounds of boost. So not much of nothing. Fuel still looks great. Let's see. Our timing is super cool. Everything looks good. So now we're just going to add some more dome and give it a little more beans. All right, now here's a little insight. We've got all these sensors on here to show stuff. Our air temp before the intercooler at the end of the pool was 130, and our air temp in the motor is 86. So we're pulling out 45 degrees of temperature with the intercoolers right there. And then our pressure going into the intercooler is 5.9, pressure coming out is 4.9. So basically 1 pound of pressure drop across the intercoolers. All right, now this is obviously going to change if we start to add, juice. But anyhow, that's where we're starting off at. All right, so that was, what do we got? 394 horsepower at the tire, 7.9, right around 8, just shy of 8 pounds of boost. The tune-up I have is super. This is 87. We're trying to make. Eventually, we're going to try to make a ton of power on 87, just because we're idiots. But the daily driver theme is going to continue, right? So the tune-up is ridiculously safe. So now we're going to add a little more boost. But let's look at our boost section here. All right, so at the end of the pull, when we got some heat in things, the pre-intercooler air temp is 173. That's the air coming out of the turbos. Post-intercooler pressure, 7.8. Pre-intercooler pressure is 9.3. So we're losing about 1.5 pounds across the intercoolers. And our air temp in the motor is 105. So far we're taking a lot of temperature out. We're 70 degrees or so we're keeping out of the motor, which is the whole point of having intercoolers. All right, so let's turn it up another 5 and see what that nets us. All right, Lee, what we got? 445 up there. Have avoided my warranty yet?
Well, at the end of this, I mean, you can go ahead and tell me what type of engine builder I am.
All right. So here we got, what do we got? We got basically just shy of 12 pounds of boosts. Once again, our tune-up is stupid safe, but that's what we want. Okay, here's our temps and stuff. Pre-intercooler, IAT 172. Air temp going in the motor, 93. So we're pulling it out. That's probably a little less that time because the pull was shorter because we made more power. That's kind of hard to understand, but that'll be different at the track. At the track, at the stripe, our temps would be different than this. So these air-to-air deals can be a little funny. So the shorter pull didn't have as much time, and who knows, maybe the intercoolers weren't as cooled off before. But our pressure drop, let's see what we got here. Out here we got 13.4 in, 12.1 out. So 1.3 change or loss across the intercoolers. Not too shabby. All right, we're gonna turn it up.
Turn it up.
Turn it up, they say.
It's up arrow, man.
All right, let's give it another 5. All right, there's 482. We're at 14.5 pounds or so, 14.4. Fat as a hog, no timing. Let's look at our boost situation. All right. Pre-intercooler is 194. Our air temp in the motor is 106, so we're losing 90 degrees there. Pre-intercooler pressure is 16.3, post-intercooler is 14.8, so 1.5 pounds or so pressure drop across the system. I don't think we can stop at 480 something. We need to get to 5, so we got a nice round number, so I'm going to push it just a little more, and then we'll probably stop there. All right, so there we go. We got 521. That's a tire through a sloppy converter on 87 octane, the people's fuel. Let's see, let's look at our data. Boost waving around a little bit. 18 pounds. Yeah. Sunk down to 17 there. 18 pounds. Ridiculously sloppy tune-up. Let's look at our temps here and see how things look. So our 201 pre-intercooler air temps at the end of the pull. Our air temp in the motor is 102, so we're taking out a good chunk. Now, once again, the more power we make, the shorter the pulls get. So that's these numbers are gonna be a lot more useful once we start running this thing on the street and getting some longer pull data. We'll get a better understanding of how well our air-to-air intercoolers are gonna work. Pre-intercooler pressure, 20.0. Post-intercooler pressure, 19.0. So, 1 pound a drop, it seems to be that the pressure drop is so far staying pretty consistent. Now, at some point, that will that'll change, and the drop will increase, and also the ability to get rid of heat will decrease. But so far, we're doing pretty good. Anyhow, I guess that's enough for today. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Merch is at HaroldEngine.com if you like wearing crazy t-shirts and whatnot like me. We'll be back shortly, and we'll do some driving stuff. This thing, I can't wait to show you guys. It drives so good, and I can't wait to get my other converter back in, my more stock Circle D converter, because it's going to be more stock to street, and we'll start working on mileage and that type of stuff. And anyhow, it's great. This thing drives pretty good to be what it is, and we're going to, like I said, this is a long-term project. We're going to keep improving, adding power, adding traction, working on it. We haven't even started with our traction control stuff, all that, but we'll get to all that little bit by bit. So stay tuned.
Can you do